Well, hello. It is Tuesday, August 11th, 2020, and we finally know. I knew it was going to be Kamala Harris. Okay. I think everybody kind of did. But once again, God. Oh, God, we are so fucked. This is really getting stupid. Even Cenk on TYT is saying that he's backing Biden because it's better than Trump. And I I retweeted one of his comments, and really, you really think so? God, I mean, come on. All right, it's the Congress and the Senate are a bunch of fools, a bunch of idiots. Obviously, they don't give a shit about what's going to happen with the unemployment that's going to just explode here because when all these benefits drop down to below minimum wage for these people, because what he signed on Saturday is that they're going to offer $300 and extra, and the state has to come up with the other 25%, which would be the other 100. But apparently, if the state can't come up with the 100, then they're not getting the 300 from the federal government. So, and most of the states are, well, I'd say probably they're all bankrupt at this point anyway. States can't generate their own money. They can't make it. Only the federal government can do that. And that's where this money's coming from, is basically thin air. The problem is that we have to pay it back to the Fed. And I've said that before. If you want to get rid of these deficit problems and all of this, just close down the Fed. Just end it. Get it done. Ron Paul was able to at least talk about auditing the Fed because they've lost trillions of dollars. Nobody knows where it is. Same thing with the military. It's all going in people's pockets. What I understand is that over the years there has been $100 trillion of illegal trading and different kinds of illegal activities going on Wall Street. Apparently, the courts can just come in and seize money. It's the short selling that's going on. It's all inside traders with inside knowledge. We are so screwed. We really, really are. And when you have these, 20, 30 million, I guess it's 30 million people unemployed, when the unemployment runs out and they are on the streets digging in trash cans looking for food, you've got hell on your hands. Uh, this is not happening in Europe. This is happening in the United States because we live under a oligarchical feudal system. It's not even capitalism anymore. It's just steal every penny that you can get, loot everything. All the money's going to the billionaires. We have, what, 500 billionaires in this country now, I believe. And I did a quick calculation. If we taxed each billionaire just 5 billion, because a lot of them have a lot more than that, and some maybe only have a billion. But if you averaged it out, that would be $2.5 trillion that we could generate every year, and that would really help a lot. Now, it's not going to help much now because we're so screwed. The economy is so screwed. But um, under normal conditions, that would put a lot of that money back into the system. It could fix a lot of the infrastructure. But that's what's happening. See, is the billionaires, all this money is going to the billionaires, and they don't need all this extra money. Uh, what does a billionaire need $1 billion for? Seriously, how do you pay? What can you buy? I mean, how many yachts can you buy? How many? I mean, we're looking at a situation like Epstein, with houses all over the world, and these billionaires. It's just sick. It's just sickening. The kind of they are flaunting their wealth and living like kings and palaces, while you have 50% of the population's barely scraping by. It's it's just criminal. It's not right. How Americans are allowing this to go on, it's just beyond me. I think because they all think that, well, one day I can be a billionaire. Really? Are you serious? A lot of this wealth gets passed down through the families with the trust funds, these different ways of scamming and manipulating the situation. Anyway, we've got Kamala Harris, hey, our VP, because Biden is going to be, probably in an institution within a year, babbling like a fool. So it looks like, she's going to probably be president soon if they beat Trump, and who knows at this point. There's so much going on with this Epstein case, and there's so many Democrats that are involved in it, and Republicans. So many of the politicians, it all makes sense, doesn't it? Why they are doing so many stupid things, because I bet a lot of them have been blackmailed. I bet a lot of these people are in the black book. A lot of these people have little videotapes of them hidden away in vault somewhere, used for blackmail. I mean, there's a couple of guys that have gotten a hold of the black book. They've gotten a hold of court records. I had left a link on my last video about Sean Atwood has been doing some really good interviews lately, and he did an interview with Steele, the ex-CIA agent that went through a lot of good material. I mean, this guy, he said there's about 20% of the FBI and the CIA that are good, and a lot of them are corrupt. But there's about 20% that probably have some integrity, and some that are not bought. They're not being blackmailed because they have integrity. Is that going to be enough to break this thing wide open? Probably not. I don't have a lot of faith in the system anymore, I must say. But I keep doing these videos because, I can help a little. I don't have a lot of subscribers, but every little bit helps. And, I'm trying to get information out as best that I can. Some of the guys have got lots of subscribers, a lot of people listening to them, which is great. I should have started this a long time ago. But anyway, you got to do what you got to do when you can do it. So I'm going to keep doing the videos. I'm going to keep studying and researching and finding out what's going on. But, Kamala Harris, she just figures out from day to day what she believes in. She has no moral compass. I mean, Tulsi Gabbard was absolutely correct during that debate when she went after Kamala and just said, what she did when she was the Attorney General in California was just criminal. They were keeping prisoners in prison that were eligible for parole because it was going to interfere with the prison labor, because they have contracts with different companies like McDonald's and Walmart. They make all kinds of stuff. That's slave labor. When you're paying somebody 20 cents an hour, I mean, that's about as cheap as you can get, okay? But it's just unbelievable. This shit keeps going on, and Americans are arguing about Trump or Biden, back and forth. They don't have any idea what they're talking about. I'm watching some of these tweets, and I would say 99% of the people that are tweeting have no freaking idea what they're talking about. They know nothing. They probably haven't even read a book. They watch a few videos, but they mostly watch movies on Netflix, and then they watch a little CNN or MSNBC or maybe some Fox, and they think they know everything, and they don't know shit. But it just floats around, and the shit gets moving around back and forth and retweeted. It's ridiculous, and I'm surprised at Cenk, because he ought to know better. Biden is as bad as Trump. Give me a freaking break. Biden is bought and sold by the 1%, okay? He's basically a puppet to his donors. He'll do whatever they want. And the thing about it is that neither one of these morons can attack each other because they've both done the same stuff. You know, I don't want to be crass, but I've said it before. You know, Trump likes to grab women by the pussy, and Biden likes to stick his fingers in the pussy. So, hey, how are they going to, they can't attack each other on a moral basis. They're both bought and sold by the same donors. They both are doing whatever Mitch McConnell and Pelosi want. It's a freaking mess. It's a clown show. It's all window dressing. It's theater, and it's bad theater, because they're doing their virtue signaling. Oh, look at me. I am for this or I'm for that. But then when it comes down to a vote, they're not for shit. I mean, to allow all these unemployed people to be hanging out to dry, arguing about, oh, they might have made a little more money than when they were working, and so, oh my God, we can't have that. I mean, seriously? So what, are you going to let these people starve to death? Is that what you really want? Because you're giving millions of dollars to people that don't need it and have never worked a day in their lives. You know, Wall Street banks are getting tons of money. These huge corporations are getting tons of money. They're all giving each other bonuses. And then you're worried about the unemployed might make a couple $100 more a week than they would if they work. Seriously, you people are sick. You really are scum. Absolute scum. You have no idea about morals, ethics, you know, and Nancy Pelosi is talking about praying to God and everything's going to be okay. You know, this lunatic woman has no idea what she's talking about. I don't believe in God. I'm an atheist, but I've read the Bible a lot more than any of these other idiots have ever read. I went to church school all my life, so I was forced to read this stuff. So I know the Bible very well. And I can tell you that Jesus would not be for any of this stuff. Okay? He would not go for any of this garbage. And he's basically said that it's harder for a rich man to get into heaven than a poor one. And what is it? It's harder for a camel to get through the eye of a needle than a rich man to get to heaven. Well, there you go. You know, some good moral stories there. I'm sure that he wouldn't leave homeless people hanging out to dry and starving to death. You know, he would figure out a way. He would come up with a miracle of some kind, and that's what we need right now, is a freaking miracle. Because Congress is full of scum. You've got Trump having to come up with some little crazy scheme to try and get around Congress because they won't do shit. At least he's coming up with something. Oh my God, you know, I just thank God I have a job, but I don't know what's going to happen. And like I said before, when you've got millions of people on the streets starving, you better look out, because this is going to get really bloody. It's going to get really nasty. And these people have no idea what they're dealing with. They don't know they have not read anything about the French Revolution, about what happened to Marie Antoinette with her bullshit about let them eat cake when the royal family was living lavishly like kings, having big parties, and then the rest of the population were starving to death. They went in and drugged those people out on the street and killed them because it got to a point where they had nothing left to lose. They were dying. They were starving to death. And when you get into a desperate situation, your mind will start thinking of ideas that you normally wouldn't think of. So let's see how this great and wonderful decision that Biden came up with. Whoop-de-doo. We got Kamala Harris now. The woman that sticks her finger up in the air to see which way the wind is blowing so that she can decide what she's for from one day to the next. And Bernie Sanders and all these people saying we're for Trump. We're for Biden and Kamala. We're going to do everything we can to get them elected. You serious? What's the difference? Seriously, you think? I guarantee you that we would, if Biden had been president, we would have already been at war with Iran. I am telling you, the Democrats are in some ways more war hawks than the Republicans are. I mean, everybody wanted Trump to go into Iran. Everybody. And somehow he finally saw that this was a bad situation. And to get into war with Iran, Iran's allies are Russia and China. If you want to get into World War III, that's one good way to do it. But Biden's nuts. I mean, he couldn't put two sentences together properly. So if you think he's going to do anything better than Trump, you got your brain is loose inside your skull. Okay, I don't know what to say or do. I don't think we got to hope a prayer in hell to come out of this mess intact, because the Congress is corrupt, the Senate is corrupt, the Republicans are corrupt, the Democrats are corrupt. Biden is a freaking moron. He might as well be a Republican. Kamala is a brutal. I mean, she just was awful as Attorney General in California. Tulsi Gabbard was absolutely right. She was keeping people in jail that needed to be released. She was putting people in jail for smoking marijuana when she actually had smoked herself. There was even somebody that had been proven that he was not guilty because of some DNA results, and she delayed the results and wouldn't allow this person out of jail, knowing full well that he was innocent. I mean, what kind of human beings do that? You know, she's just as bad as all the rest of them, you know? Oh, she's a woman. Oh, she's black. Okay, great, wonderful. But that's a virtue signaling. We need good people. If you have a black woman that's awesome, or a white woman, or whoever, I don't give a damn what color they are, if they're a man or a woman or what. They need to have integrity. They need to have guts. They need to have morals and ethics. That's what we need. But just picking someone because of whether they're male or female, it's ridiculous. We're just having a stupid argument about bullshit. McKinney, I've forgotten what her first name is, but she was mentioned in a couple of the videos as she would be an awesome attorney general. She's a black woman, and she has integrity. She is strong-willed, and she would go after the Epstein case. She would be ruthless. That's who we need. And I would look up her first name. Maybe I'll do that, because I don't want to be sending out information without giving the names. Oh, geez, let's see. Well, it looks like I'm not going to find her first name. On the next video, I will do it though, and find out, you know, what we can do about this situation. Oh man, that pisses me off. Well, anyway, that's who we need to have as an attorney general, and you can be guaranteed that Biden is not going to pick her. Because he's going to pick one of his donors' choices. The donors are going to be picking. I mean, the media wanted Kamala Harris, whether she had any support or not. They were all over her ass. Oh, she's wonderful. Oh, she's great. The media was trying to push her. She was dropping in the polls. And then she came up with this crazy idea that we need to pull Donald Trump's Twitter feed. Seriously? You're for that bullshit? What about the First Amendment? Do you ever remember anything about that? Or freedom of speech? People have the right to voice their opinions even if they're wrong. Because what happens is when you start taking down people's Twitter feeds and their YouTube videos, and you start censoring things, what ends up happening is that you're censoring some of the good people too. That's why we have a First Amendment. It's because everyone has the right to freedom of speech, because when you start censoring the people that are actually telling the truth. And that's the danger of it. So you got to let everybody talk. Alex Jones is a little wacky, but he is right on a few things about the globalist movement, about chipping people, about the vaccine situation. But they had to shut him down. And it's sad. And then look at Julian Assange in jail. The guy at WikiLeaks was posting, as a journalist would, happened to be on the internet, posting the emails and the bullshit that was going on in the DNC, Democratic Party, with Hillary. And what do? They didn't do shit to her. What do? They put the messenger in jail. I mean, what kind of system do we have in this country that allows this kind of crap to go on? We killed the messenger. They need to put her in jail for the stuff that she did. They need to put Comey in jail. They need to put all of these morons. Biden and Obama should be in jail for what they did, spying on Trump. Whether you like Trump or not, you cannot spy on a campaign. You cannot put out false information to get a FISA warrant. You can't do this stuff. But nobody's stopping anybody. And Ghislaine Maxwell and Jeffrey Epstein were running a pedophile ring for 30 frickin' years. And the government knew about it. The CIA was using them. The Mossad was using them to blackmail politicians and judges and prosecutors. They had bought the system. This was rampant. The satanic rituals going on Little St. James Island over there, where Jeffrey Epstein had his little palace and that little funky, weird kind of mosque thing. I don't know what, a temple of some kind over there. They had tunnels underneath the building. They had satanic rituals going on. They had human sacrifices going on. They were finding children all over the world, buying and selling them. That's why you have so many kids that just disappear every year. You see their faces on different posters saying, "Have you seen me? Have you seen this person? This is what they would look like now." They're probably dead. They were probably sacrificed. The story going around about the Mormons having children without birth certificates so they can sell them. I mean, what in the hell is going on in this country? We have become the evil empire. The world is looking upon us and saying, what in the hell is going on? We've gone crazy. A lot of people saying, oh, Trump is Putin's bitch and all this stuff. Well, Putin stopped letting orphans go to the United States because he found out that they were being trafficked. He ended it. So what do you have to say about that? RT network, Russian television, has an office in Washington, D.C. You've got some of the journalists that used to work for Fox and CNN and MSNBC that got fired because they were trying to tell the truth. So where are they working? RT, because RT doesn't tell them what to say and what not to say. So isn't that kind of ironic? You know, we think that we are the greatest country on earth. I'm beginning to wonder about that. We're a criminal enterprise. We have gone crazy here. And something has to be done about it. And it's going to happen really soon. It's going to be bloody. Some people are going to get drug out into the streets and murdered. Especially the super rich. You better look out. Because when you're flaunting your wealth around and you got millions of people starving to death, fighting over what is little left in the trash can to eat, you better look out. Because we're coming for you. We're coming to get you. And I said before that we would tar and feather you. Well, I don't know what's going to happen at this point. Because if this evil continues, then I think there's going to be some blood running down the streets. I think we're going to have to cleanse ourselves of this evil. So I'm not threatening anybody. I'm not naming any names. I'm just telling you that there's a history in the world. And the French Revolution is a perfect example. What the poor did to the Tsar, the royal family in Russia back in the early 1900s. They were dragged out on the street and killed because they were flaunting their wealth while everyone else was starving. The British royal family, you better look out because they're into a lot of satanic evil stuff going on there. Look at Jimmy Savile was procuring young boys and girls for people in the royal family and the government in Britain. It's been going on for years. What's been going on here for 30 years. Then you had the Franklin cover-up. Bill Barr was part of that cover-up, and now he's the Attorney General. Do you think he's going to do anything to stop the Epstein trafficking? They're gonna probably sacrifice Ghislaine Maxwell and say, well, we got him. It's all over. Yeah, really? Really? Somebody else is just going to be doing it. This trafficking is going on. It's a huge business. I've been doing some research and I can't believe it. This is a $1 trillion industry. It's rivaling weapons and drugs. So you've got trafficking in weapons, trafficking in guns, and all kinds of armaments. You've got trafficking in all kinds of drugs. We've got a huge problem with opium coming out of Afghanistan. Isn't it interesting that the Taliban had almost eradicated the opium production in Afghanistan? Well, when the United States came in, the military came in, we cut deals with the drug lords to fight against the Taliban. And we said, well, you guys can grow whatever you want. Opium production went up 800% when we went into Afghanistan. And that's a fact. And Putin and Europeans were crying bloody murder because all that cheap heroin was flooding their streets. Well, we didn't know. Give me a freaking break. We were getting cuts from all of that. The CIA is the worst. The CIA was founded in 1947 supposedly as a way of analyzing intelligence to make sure the United States was safe. The CIA was basically a mob operation. They were a mafia, and they still are a mafia. They are doing the trafficking too. They are doing the blackmail operations. They are making money from the drug trafficking and the weapons trafficking. We need to shut down the CIA. This needs to go away. The FBI is somewhat compromised, but it's a little better. We don't need the CIA anymore because the CIA lies about everything. They have their agenda. They lied all about the weapons of mass destruction. The New York Times was just basically copying and pasting whatever the CIA was telling them. The false flag operations going on. It's a freaking nightmare. It's a mess. Can anybody stop this? I don't know. I don't know who's going to stop it because anybody that tries to tell the truth ends up in jail or getting their websites taken down. So anyway, I'm flying under the radar because I don't I don't have enough subscribers to probably be a threat, but I am taking these YouTube videos that I find and I'm posting them and reposting them and putting them in the Twitter feeds, Twitter feeds. Anyway, I am passing on as much information as I can. So I'm doing all I can. Everyone else need to do their part. Let's try and take this oligarchy down once and for all. Let's cleanse ourselves of this evil, or we won't have a country soon. It's going to go into chaos. All right, so that's it for me. Have a good evening, and we will talk tomorrow. This is Terry Allen. I consider myself a radical progressive, so that's what I named my program. All right, have a good night. Thank you.